Hi, so this is our initial concept pitch for the ideas based around still. Because the brief was relatively open and we had a few constraints, we didn't know exactly which of our ideas would hit the mark. So what we decided to do was take the three strongest and then we would put those forward and see which one people liked the best. The thing is with each of these three ideas is there's a different way to represent multiplayer, and there's also a different element at the center of each one that we think represents the fun, so why people would want to play this game. So the first idea we have still is four players on controller on a split screen, working in tandem with together, but set up like the old GoldenEye 64 games where you have the four quadrants of the screen representing each player's viewpoint. So the idea behind this game is that you are a set of toys in an environment trying to collectively achieve an objective, but in your way of patrolling enemies, patrolling AIs, either security guards or adults or something of that ilk. And in order to avoid detection by these patrols, the only way you can do it is by staying still, like one of the toys in Toy Story when an adult enters the room and flopping like a rag doll to the floor, appearing like you were an inanimate, normal toy. We've got a quick gameplay slice to show here of how we see it going. We just got two of the players at the moment. You can see that they're both in the same game space, and they're trying to avoid this patrolling AI, and there they go, flopping to the floor like their strings were cut from a puppet and pretending to be a regular old toy. We've also thrown in some other elements that we think that could be fun that plays on this whole ragdoll physics, things like trampolines to access different parts of the area. So we could see that 8+ age ranges could have fun flinging ragdoll toys through the air trying to find what they're looking for. So to sum the idea up, the players are working together to infiltrate an environment of some sort. They're avoiding patrolling enemies, avoiding the AI, and in order to do so, they're imitating real toys by falling in a physics-based heap. We see the fun here is the tension in outsmarting those different AIs, and also the fun that comes with that physics ragdoll model where you can throw yourself through the air or fall off different things. There's some kind of emergent fun can have from that. The second idea of still works a little bit differently. Again, it's split screen, but this time we have three players on the main screen on regular controllers, and we have the fourth player acts as a kind of overseer to the whole endeavor, and that's controlled by a companion app on either mobile or tablet. Now, we envision this to be something similar to a heist movie or a Mission Impossible, where the player with the tablet is sort of the controller and has to guide the other players around the level, because the controller has an overview of the entire level, whereas the players on the screen can only see their very limited viewpoint of it. The still comes in that players can avoid the enemies or cameras or other things like that by standing stock still, and then they'll go invisible. So that has to rely on the controller player telling them when and when to not move. We have a little short gameplay clip here that just shows the loop. So you can see in the very bottom corner is the companion app, and the player's moving, and here comes a baddie. So he's stopped, faded from sight, and as the baddie keeps going on, the controller can now say it's safe to move again, and they keep moving through the level. So to sum this up, we have the app player must verbally instruct the others to do with their timing and when they can't move, or when and when they should hit certain switches or buttons. And the players can vanish, but only whilst they're still. So we see this fun because that frantic verbal communication between the players and the controller is at the essence of the whole thing. And if that breaks down, the shouting and the screaming and the laughing and people not hearing correct instruction, we think a lot of fun can come from that. So our final idea still is based on a farm. And this is four players on a controller, but they're all operating in a single screen. The single screen will be a 3D environment, but it will be a locked camera, so it will appear like a kind of isometric quarter top-down view. So we can see here a quick mock-up. You're inside a farmer's garden, and you're taking the place to be the little gnomes or goblins running around the garden trying to achieve an objective in the still of night. Now, because it's nighttime and the farmer's inside asleep, you have to be extremely quiet. What you have to do is you have to use the detritus which is scattered around the front garden in order to build constructs to achieve your objectives, to get a key or to find some way into a place. Now, you have to do this all by being really quiet, because the objects themselves are governed by a sort of exaggerated set of physics which allows them to wobble and shake as you clamber across them. And if any of them drop to the floor, it's going to make noise and it's going to wake the farmer. And if the farmer does get awoken, he'll come to the door and he'll search around the garden with his torch or flashlight trying to find the culprits. Now, being goblins or gnomes, you can avoid the flashlight is by standing stock still and appearing as just a regular garden gnome. So here we can see a quick mock-up of the gameplay, looking at some of those mechanics in action. So you can see the two players here using blocks to stack their way up to get to this top platform here. Once they're on this platform, what they're going to do is they're going to grab the stick and they're going to use it cooperatively in order to dangle one of the players off the edge of the ledge so he can pick up the objective. Now, obviously, you wouldn't be able to do this without the two players. There'll be elements in here which forces the players to work in tandem in order to either rotate objects or move objects into the correct position. But at the same time, they're trying to stay very quiet and not drop anything. So because it's a sort of physics sandbox, we can see the fun in this game comes from the fact that there's a sort of emergent gameplay coming from this, where the exaggerated physics are controlling all those objects and you're never quite sure what's going to stay up, what's going to fall over, what's going to make too much noise. So we think that this idea could be quite fun for those reasons. So there are 3 ideas, and we look forward to hearing any feedback or thoughts you have on them. Thanks.